All right. All right. Good evening, everybody. We're now officially in work session, and members of the board, thank you for attending. Public, thank you for attending tonight. As per our agenda, we have 26 items to cover briefly. You will see in your packet, you did receive, I hope that the board did receive their packets with the ordinance we'll be looking at tonight and the advisement of tonight's meeting.
This was not in our packet.
I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So what we'll do is I'd like to begin with item number 1. And item number 1 is ordinance number 2023-001. At the board's request, this ordinance was drafted to change the public comments portions of our meetings. And as you can see in the ordinance, you've had time to review it. Instead of 5 minutes at the beginning of the session, we will return to 3 minutes at first of the session and then 3 minutes thereafter. Any questions concerning this ordinance? Any comments?
Pretty straightforward.
Very good. This will be on the agenda for the upcoming BMA. Moving on, you will see in your packet, and I just received this late yesterday, hence it wasn't in your packet. This is an updated quote for the monument at Wells Park, recognizing Mayor Billy and Irene Wells. As you can see, take a minute to glance over the quote, and I'll tell you the difference in the cost. The first monument, yeah, this one right here.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hitchcock.
The Hitchcock Memorial quote. The first is pricier, and all that includes is that means the sides would be polished. That means the front and back would be polished black granite. But this, if you take the more expensive one, that means that the entire monument would be polished. On the second option, you will see that the front and back would be polished, and this is the one that you looked at earlier and tentatively approved. The sides would be that rough granite, which I think is a lot more attractive. Personally, it's up to you, but you can see the cost difference. We did receive a 10% discount from Hitchcock. And the polished sides version comes in at $10,608.30. The rough sides version comes in at $8,839.80. This project would have about a 6-month lead time because it will be solid granite, not a facade, and it's actually imported from Libya. So it would have to arrive in the United States, get to Hitchcock, and then Hitchcock would actually do the work for us. And I also made sure that they included down there under the second price, you'll see it's very specific. We would just have to, the town, Public Works, would just have to pour a level concrete pad where we want the monument, and then Hitchcock will install everything for us. We won't be responsible for installing it. So in looking over this quote, are there any questions, comments, or concerns?
No, but Mayor, did you ever find out about the name change? Make sure that name cannot be changed.
That is with Mr. Fry.
Okay.
And he hasn't answered that yet.
He hasn't answered
but
yet.
I will remind him after this session.
Okay, thank you.
Name change.
What change?
The park.
The Vice Mayor was concerned, may I?
Sure,
Vice Mayor,
yes, please.
That future boards might be inclined to rename the park again. And she was concerned or looking at legally whether it can be grandfathered, I don't know how to say it, Ben, somehow, to make it impossible or at least very difficult for it to be changed back by future boards. Is that right?
That's correct.
Right.
Because sadly it's already been rumored.
Right. So now,
That we were?
Yeah, I don't.
Like that we were going to vote to change the name?
No.
No, future boards. Yeah, future boards. Right.
We voted to name that.
Right. Yeah, we did it. So anyway,
I don't hear about rivers.
so how to pay for this? We will receive $10,000 approximately in June from the county that is to be used for parks and recreation. So we do have the funding coming. It's not here yet to do this. Now, upon order and your approval, as you will see, it says the turnaround time once ordered is a minimum of 6 months. So we will not be invoiced for this project if you decide to go ahead and allow me to move forward with it until it's actually delivered and installed.
Oh.
So the money will be in the bank,
Right.
per se, before we would be required to pay for this.
Oh, okay.
So what are your thoughts on the design, and what are your thoughts on placing this on the upcoming BMA's agenda so that we can go ahead and get one of these versions ordered and on the way?
Say sooner better.
Okay, very good. Would everyone agree then that, okay, then let's come to a consensus on what version we like? Does anyone prefer that we pay more and have the sides polished? Now, the drawing, you'll remember I shared a drawing with you here a while back, and if you need, I'll go get the file back out if you'd like to see it. But you have already tentatively approved the rough sides.
Right.
And everyone seemed to agree at that point that that was the version we were going to go with. If so, that's advantageous to us because, as you can see, that'll leave us a balance of a little over $1,000 of the county's money, which will be ours, and it will help us install the pad. We'll do the work ourselves. And then there's some other little things we could tweak up down at the park too. We need some new hand dryers and different things down there. So okay, if I understand you all correctly, then I will place this item on the agenda for next Tuesday, and we will be going with the second quote of $88.39.80. And upon your approval, I will issue a PO and order this. Okay? Any questions on the Wells Park Memorial? All right, I'll go on down the list. Some of these things I'll touch. Now, if there's something that jumps out, we're in no hurry whatsoever this evening. If there's something that jumps out in my notes here, please just stop me and say, let's talk more about it. But budget time is nigh again. And Miss Sharon has already been working on a rough draft version of the budget. I will be meeting with the staff, Police Department, Public Works, and F&A. Obviously, Sharon and I will meet about their budget prospects in the next week or so. And we'll go ahead and get ahead and start seeing what the requirements are, what we need out there for next year. As far as the police, public works, and finance and administration departments. You will see also in your packet the town manager position job description. And this is a culmination of the MTAS version, and it's actually lined up onto the uniform Bluff City format that we put our job descriptions on. I'll leave this with you if you like, or we can read and discuss. There are no surprises here. I did edit this myself with your guidance, and you will notice that the very two-wit section of the charter, Article 7, is mixed in with this, mingled into this job description, so there's no confusion. I was trying to see if there's any. No, I did modify if you look up there under general description of duties, it says the purpose of this position is to act as chief administrative officer. Now, originally, Mr. Pete's version said operating, but the charter says administrative. So I did change that language to match the charter. Beside that, this is all encompassing, and it just follows the charter pretty much. It says exactly what a town manager should do, that they're the budget director. On that point, I did include the language, works alongside the finance officer to prepare and submit the annual town budget for approval, semicolon, advises the board concerning all financial affairs. Yes, the town manager is the budget director, but I thought it was important that that language be included to recognize the professionalism of the CMFO. Let me see, and then that's charters, nothing new there for y'all. I made no edit to the charter. It is to wit exactly what's in the charter. Everything else you had, the only 2 or 3 things that you mentioned in our last meet was timeline, which you have it in your hand now, and you can decide that. And then that the charter was not included in inclusive, and it is now. So would you like to look over it? Any questions? You want to take it home and come back with it? Just whatever you desire. But I have fulfilled my obligation to present you with a finished product.
I think it looks great, Jeff. The only thing that I would like to have mentioned, it kind of, in an indirect way, kind of covers it, but acquiring grants.
Oh,
like
very good. We can do that.
I mean, it says in there that you'd be handling the financial responsibilities, which would fall under that, but I think that's a real key point for the position.
So there should be a basic level of experience in acquiring and grant writing.
Right.
Okay. I'll include that language then and edit it and bring it back to you.
Okay, and then we can move forward after.
And I'll bounce it off Pete. I always give him the due diligence.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So how about that? I'll add that language, and then I'll bounce it off Mr. Auger, and then I'll return to you with that product. And that's a good point, Ben, because it does not specifically say we need somebody with grant experience. And we do. So, okay. Any other edits you can see right off the top of your head? Now, if you need time to take it home, we got plenty of time. Come back with it. Okay. Very good. So at this point, if the board agrees, I'm going to add language to the specific duties and responsibilities concerning grants. And I will have that looked at by our MTAS advisor, and I'll return a product to you.
Okay, and then kind of let us know, and then we can just kind of move forward.
Right.
Okay.
I'll bring it back to you again for review.
Thanks.
Same thing. All right. Any other discussion about the town manager job description?
Before, at one time we were talking where the manager would have the right to fire certain employees.
Yes.
Is that in here?
It's in the charter piece. Yes, ma'am. It certainly is.
Well, that's why I want to read it all to see who he can and who he can't.
Yeah, it's actually it's referred to in a couple of places here. Directs administers. Administer means has the authority to hire or fire. Next, if you go down into the charter, it talks about, in that specific language, that basically they supervise the town employees. Now, obviously, those with property rights that are appointed are exempt from that, i.e., town recorder and chief of police.
Well, that's what we're trying to find out.
Every other employee can be either hired or terminated by the town manager.
So he cannot terminate Sharon?
No.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
No, that's a board decision. Okay. Board hires, board terminates.
Okay.
Board disciplines.
That's my only concern.
Right. And it's specific in the language here.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other discussion on this? Excellent. We'll move on then. I will be bringing you forth, and I'm going to put it in an envelope and send it out to you and give you some time to marinate on it. The mission statement, values, and goals. I've been working on that. I have a rough draft. I'd like to put it in to a PowerPoint presentation at some point. But right now, the strategic plan / comprehensive plan is in a rough. It's not ready for me to bring to the board, honestly. So at some point in time, as I get this thing roughed out, I'll go ahead and have it delivered to your house, and you'll have plenty of time to look at it, marinate, think about it, and then we'll talk about it more.
That's fine.
Patriot Day. Now, we earlier discussed in a meeting that we might be inclined to have an event on July 1st. And originally I called it Organizational Day and Corporation Day, right? And what it would do is it's on the July 4th weekend, on the Independence Day weekend, or the preamble of that. It would recognize our date of incorporation, which is July 1st, 1901. We were laid out as a town in 1887 prior to that.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
1807, I can't
Yeah,
remember.
1887, we were laid out as a town. But the more I thought about it, I wanted for us as a board to come up with an event that would stick, not just one time. So I had this thought, and why not name this holiday Patriot Day?
Well, that sounds okay, but can we come up with a different name besides Patriot?
We
It
can come
has,
up with any kind of name.
Stigma behind it.
Well, that's just a byword.
Right.
Anything
I know,
we want to call it. But I was hoping that we would come up with something that fell in that 4th of July weekend as days move, that we could come back and revisit every year, and kind of taking us back to the old town values of things that we do together. We had talked about it, having bands, having a watermelon pie eating contest, having a pig roast, whatever you want to do.
Community Day or something,
Right.
or citizens.
Right. So I'm not sure what we'll call it. I just threw that name out there because it's 4th of July.
Right,
Patriot.
right.
It's like a marketing thing. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. But the way that tentatively I would see this thing working, if everyone agrees, is that we would work with the family committee. They would have their piece. We would have ours. This would occur at Wells Park. And what we would do practically is that we would bring our Heritage Day stage down to Wells Park. And you know how the shelter lays out? We would come over there before you get to the playground implements, and we'd actually kind of set up a second stage, if you will. And off that stage, we could have a beauty contest for the children that morning, maybe. And the family committee would take care of that for us. It's no touch. We just provide that. And then at some point in time, we, as a town, would have a brief ceremony to recognize our Incorporation Day. And I would bring in, if you allow me, the OVTA and some different folks to celebrate this historically. You know what I'm saying? We'll come up with a concept. And then after that, perhaps maybe some bands and some contests. And another really good idea that actually came out of the family committee meeting is maybe to have a fishing contest off of the boardwalk for a certain amount of time. Like for the next 2 hours, the person that can catch the most bluegill is going to get a prize. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or something. I mean,
Fun stuff.
what we do is we bring in the TWRA guys and gals, and they're out there obviously they're going to make sure everybody has a license. But also they can bring like their little displays, they come out there and they bring like a raccoon, or they bring, here's this big champion trout in a tank, and it can be interactive for the kids.
For the kids.
And see, just a second. And then we still got our playground there, so children can play. You know what I'm saying? So yes, Miss Broyles, have you got something?
I just want to let you know the family committee already has plans for the prize for the fishing contest,
Yeah.
our event.
Yeah, right.
Beauty contest with all the prizes and all that, and some other type of drawings that we are going to do ourselves.
Okay. And
How old the children have to be in the beauty contest? Is there an
It's
age
all
limit?
ages.
All ages?
We were waiting for this piece so we can all work together
Yeah.
on communicating it out. We don't want to put it out until we find out.
Oh, okay.
yeah, well,
Everything's
yeah, that's what we're up here deciding. What our piece, what we desire to do, and this is this is going to be a wonderful event. Now, something else that we can work on with the family committee is food trucks can be brought in. This is an event. And we will, potentially close down Holston Drive and the appellant streets and allow parking and all this kind of stuff. And we could have food trucks involved down on the other end of our property or around there. It's the sky's the limit. You know what I'm saying on what we could do, huh?
vendors.
And potentially vendors if we, if that's decided to do. Have some vendors and just have. It's going to be at very, very little expense to the town to be able to do this. You know what I'm saying? Really. The police and public works traffic plan is at very little expense to us. We own the park. We own the stage. You know what I'm saying?
And that's kind of like
it don't take
something
a
that
lot.
we're giving the citizens, giving the town,
Right.
fun day, something to do.
Just a fun day.
That'd be great.
And then if it's an event that sticks and we like the way it went down, it might be another annual event for us. We have the Heritage Day. We'll soon, and the board will be very involved this year in the Heritage Day planning. And you'll get briefbacks, and you'll find out where we're at. You'll have input, this and all that kind of stuff. So, is there anyone that is not warm to this idea before we begin the planning process of trying to put the pieces together?
I love it. It's great.
Yes.
And honey, do you want to say anything else about what the family committee's talking about? I know the beauty pageant,
Oh, just for that day?
that, and maybe vendors and
And the food trucks.
food trucks.
I don't know if we're going to get the picture people that we're getting for the formal event we have that we're advertising.
That's right.
We could
Yeah.
get them.
So maybe picture people where they can go get a picture.
Everybody has bands or whatever. People.
Right.
But we were planning on, I think, just the beauty pageant and the fishing. There was something else we talked about that night to do for everybody, which the beauty pageant wasn't going to be just for girls. We're going to have it for
Can,
It's
can you come up with something for boys? Heather, you got a couple little ones too.
Yeah.
Well, we won't let them be in the beauty pageant, I thought, too.
Yeah,
That's
anybody, I guess.
Are the boys in the beauty pageant?
They can be.
From
Oh, my nephews will be in it.
yeah.
Yours too, Heather.
Good little nephews.
Well, from what I understand, it's like from your meeting, it was like themed, wasn't it? It was like red, white, and blue, and a little boy comes in a nice little suit, like my grandson went to school today, red, white, and blue.
And we were looking for adults, too.
Yeah, and adults, and
I might put old Sandy and Julie in.
Sky's the limit. You know what I'm saying?
Get some prize.
That sounds fun.
Great.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like categories, like ages, different ages, and different categories.
And then, and like I said, the details we're still hashing out because we can't really, we reserved the Wells Park for that whole day, so we could at least make sure that we get that part taken care of. And we've got a lot of future events that we're trying to plan out.
Yeah.
That day, we want a lot of hope for participation. So we're still working on it. We're still trying to decide what to do. That the beauty pageant guests will be in different categories, and then she's going to send out information on how to get in there, because it is a fundraiser for the family committee too. But there will be prizes that we will provide.
So is there gonna be a charge for them
Yeah.
to enter? Is that what it, okay.
But they're giving away prizes and, oh, yeah.
It'll be a charge to enter.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like the fishing and stuff, I don't think, I haven't talked to them about if we're charging for it. I don't think so.
You gotta have
I mean,
licensure too.
There's still gonna be stuff that
Yeah,
everybody
we'll
can do.
do.
TWRA start writing tickets to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still gonna be stuff everybody can do that they don't have to pay for.
So anyway, it's a wonderful idea.
It is.
And it's very doable, and it's on a good day, even for, July 1 is on a good day this year, and for those who are not going out of town, even if they are, you know what I'm saying? It's so everybody's okay with me from the town manager side starting to put together a shell of the way this thing will look and bring it back to you.
Let me know when you come up with a karaoke event.
I'll have to tell you.
Oh yeah, I was
That
thinking
would be
about
fun.
Elvis too. I was thinking about Elvis. Man, that guy's great.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, Elvis and Ben's gonna
like
come
some
bring a
karaoke.
band. Yeah,
I'll get something together.
When I seen that
Yeah.
thing for that place on there, it was single
You know,
bingo. I thought it was
he'd be good.
karaoke. I got excited at first.
Oh yeah,
They do have
yeah.
they have karaoke on Saturday.
People
They
love
do,
it.
don't
Yeah, they do.
They ask me
I
about it
haven't
all the
seen that
time.
advertised. I just seen the single bingo.
Because like
I was
Mail,
like, I got
Single
good
bingo,
ones
they
Tuesday.
want to get
Yeah.
like Gibbons
But
coming.
they did karaoke just on Saturday.
When we get close.
They're gonna start doing it.
I love watching the drunk people.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
enjoy watching. I just sit back in the audience and watch.
Because when people love him.
Oh yeah,
They love
it's
him.
good. Yeah. So okay, then what I'll do if the board's inclined to allow me is I'll start putting together the agenda and rough framework of this event, and I'll bring it back. Okay, great.
I can definitely help with the music side of it.
I appreciate that, dude, because I just want it to be a good time. I want people to sit out there, and that's another thing we want to do this year. At our Heritage Day is we want it to be the best ever. Of
Yes.
course, as a board, we want it to be the best ever, but we want lots of diversity and input.
Really?
We want diversity. We don't want the same genre of music. We want, hey, here's this and here's,
Bluegrass.
you know what I'm saying, and so we'll get really involved in.
If I could ask you something, Becca, if you have anything like, my granddaughter, she's in gymnastics, and if you have something that maybe she could participate in, if you have anything like that, let me know, please.
That'd be great. We actually, have the formal coming up for adults.
Uh-huh.
And we have the yoga, the Bluff City yoga
Uh-huh.
instructor has volunteered to help with kids under 13.
Uh-huh.
So if you would ask her, I would see if maybe she could come help with the kids.
Yeah, it would be cool.
Okay, I will talk to her. Yeah, because she's very good in gymnastics. I mean, she's right up there.
And I'll ask them about karaoke.
Yeah, why not? It'd be fun.
Clean fun.
It'd be fun. Yeah, karaoke and
Yes.
Mhm.
Just keep it up there.
Oh.
Jeff, you can get up there.
I'll do it,
See?
honey. I'll do it if you.
All right, all right. Now, the board. What we're going to do on Heritage Day.
Well-
What is it? What is that dance?
What is it?
I told you about it last
Yeah,
year.
you tell, and I can't. I know.
You
I
know
know
what
what
I'm
you're
talking
saying. To
about.
the left, to the left.
Yeah,
yeah.
We-
Right,
now
right,
this year we're going to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm up. Let's do it.
We're going to
Shane,
do
you ready?
it.
You
We're
wanna
going to
get ready to
practice
do it?
now.
Yeah.
What is it? What was
5 years ago at the high school prom, I did do the Dougie.
You did.
But we will practice, and we'll have a spot, and we will do it.
Let's do
What
it.
dance are you talking about?
Take it to the right, Brother Polly. Take it to the left, Brother.
We'll just have to learn it.
I must be you.
You learn it. You can
It don't
learn it.
matter. Nobody's gonna be judging us. Well, they will.
No, but
What is it?
No,
I've
but
never
we,
heard
no,
of
but
it.
we're going to be good at it. We're going to practice it. We're going to be good at
We'll
it.
put on a show.
How am I doing for my
Take it to the right. Take it back.
I saw the video.
At
Yeah.
first I thought you were talking about
Yeah.
the Gideon
Yeah.
song. What's that?
Honey, I have a
Country.
Yeah. Go ahead. Honey.
Just if any of y'all would like to volunteer, we are having a field day I'll let you know details on it, but I want to get them to agree to a dunking tank.
Oh my Lord.
Put me in the Duncan tank.
And I'm gonna put my sister in.
Money, to pay money.
I give you $20 right now. Let me dump sand.
During the summertime, I'll volunteer.
Anybody else? Appreciate it.
Awesome.
I nominate the chief.
Yeah. I think we make some money on Greg.
There's a church down the road from my house.
That's the best idea right there.
That is good.
$1 a
First
ball.
Baptist has us.
And you gotta have a heckler too, like the fair. Come on, you liver.
Yeah, oh yes.
Oh, I'm the heckler. Okay.
Oh my
No,
God.
Ben can do it. He's better than me because you got to put me in.
Kathy,
the
your
tank.
boys would love it.
What?
Yeah.
The dunking tank.
Dunking tank. Yeah.
They're all about
Gotta have a
basketball,
good
so they'll shoot
heckler.
that ball.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, you bow-legged Girl Scout.
Oh, that's good.
I love that.
Yeah, you know, like you do at the fair, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How about make sure I bring a lot of dollars because my grandkids would love it.
My granddaughter would love it.
Okay. Let's move on then to 7, local government hardware and software update. Sharon is doing a tremendous job with that project. Just to kind of surmise, the clerks all have new computers, new CPUs, and new equipment on the hardware side. Big struggle. Sharon got us through it, though. We didn't miss any service, although it was rough. And Sharon will be leading us into the next pieces of this, which is the software updates. And that means we'll go from an old DOS system, Citrus, to a Windows-based system. And it's going to be a lot better and a lot more efficient. And she's you want to talk about it at all, Miss Sharon, or have I covered it pretty good?
That's pretty good. And
Right.
Starting about May on the software, getting started.
So that's going really well, and it's going to enable us to serve our citizens better, faster, and more efficiently, and be a whole lot more user-friendly on our side, too.
Pay with a credit card. Pay a deal with a credit card.
We can already do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Debit, credit
Yeah.
cards.
Yeah, we can take debit.
You mean like
Do
online?
it online.
No, we haven't got there yet. We've got to go through this system upgrade, and then that's something we've got to learn it first, and then we'll see how that works.
You can pay
But-
in-house, yeah, with the debit credits.
I have done that, but I'm in.
Yeah, no, I haven't got that.
But anyway, kudos to Sharon. Everything's going well, and obviously the clerks too have been on board and really stepped up the customer service piece when we've had these, little blank spots in between where okay, it's time to change your computer, and you've had the same computer for 10 years, and the other clerks have filled the gaps and made sure we didn't have any interruptions in customer service. So it's been great. Again, we will, on the planning and zoning side, we'll be looking again at almost, I hope, to be a finished copy of the new planning and zoning ordinance this upcoming, on the 14th of March. We should see something. So that's still working. Phase 3 water and sewer, as you know and are aware, the Main Street project is fully operational. Everything's going real well up there. Thomas will be circling back around when the weather warms up with paving to fix all the places that you see in Main Street, Carter Street. But we'll let the weather cooperate with us a little bit. They are, and we are, the Public Works Department, are going back over those spots as much as we can and just making sure we're keeping crush and run and, not making big divots in the road. And we Thomas, they go up there at least once a week, and then we watch them. And then we also do the same thing just to make sure we're not beating any cars up or anything until we can get it permanently paved back again. The garage pump station piece is now at 75%. we've had some bad weather the last few days, and the piece that we're waiting on now is we're going to have to bring in a larger excavator or a small crane to be able to lower the new basin for the pump station into the ground. The hole's already dug and all that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, the weather, this rain and stuff, has not cooperated so that we can, if you've been out to the shop, there's a big steep hill you have to go down to get down to the pump station, and we just haven't been able to get big equipment down there. So it's drying up now, Lord willing, and we should be able to, once the weather permits and we're able to get the equipment we need down there, Thomas should be able to finish that up in short order. And the lines are already there to connect to. We also went as far as to bring water service down to the new garage pump station. There had been water, so it's regulatory. It has to be there. And there had been a water service at the old pump station at one time, and it had been eliminated somehow because it was a poly line that ran from the garage. So we just went ahead on our own and ran a brand new line down there and a new hydrant and everything. Once the basin is dropped and the pumps are installed and everything is hooked up, is going to be brand new first class stuff, and we'll take off running with that. So that's still going, and I'll keep you up to date on where that's going. Grant status remains unchanged. As you know, we're still in receipt of a TDIC grant for the water treatment plant. That's in planning and design right now. And then the multimodal grant, TDOT grant, is also in planning and design. And you know the timeline on both of those. Watson RMS update. Lieutenant Watson, you want to bring us up to speed on where you are?
Oh, yeah, Dad. As of Wednesday of last week, Watson's live. We're 2 months ahead of schedule. So the city has a full cloud-based records management system now. So we're operating on the same program with Memphis Police Department.
Nice.
Very proud.
All right.
It's very good. It's very nice. There's a few bugs in it we're working out every day. But it's one of these days when you come by, we'll show you what the full thing looks like, how the pull reports up. Our crash reports are very professional. They're the same as Memphis. Same as multiple departments throughout the state. They're very clear, they're very concise, perfect, in color. We're able to run NCIC checks. So when we're stopping cars, we're doing traffic stops for speeding, any other violations, we're able to run them for warrants live while we're there. We're able to verify that that's the driver of that car, which has been a problem in the past. A lot of people switch IDs and names, and brothers kind of look alike. Sisters kind of look like, I've had that happen before. So we were able to verify that's the driver right on the fly. Everything transports over to the incident report, where we've gone from an average of 12 to 15-minute traffic stop to 3 to 4 minutes.
That is fantastic, yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys for coming together and helping us all out. Everybody work together to get this up and running. I'm like a kid in a candy store.
2 months ahead of time. When does that ever happen?
It's been great. We were not scheduled to go live until the end of April.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, very proud of you.
That's great.
Well, one of the things about it is the guys started putting court dates in for general sessions court. We're only supposed to set those out about a week because they have to have an arraignment. The earliest I put a court date was March 28th. So that's how far ahead of schedule we are. I had to call the judge and say, listen, we're not going to have any court until March 28th because I messed up. And we're ahead of schedule. She said, that's great.
That's wonderful.
So that is working out real well, and again, kudos to Shane. Shane's been the point man on the police side. And the other piece to this is that we are inclined now, and we just moved forward a couple of days ago with a system that will tie Watson into our Citrus mainframe. So what will happen is, while we're in this thing, we might as well just do it all. Watson will eventually talk to our Citrus. So that means when we're doing the court clerk work, it will, instead of manually entering every ticket and all the paper, it'll just import into there, and then actually we'll be able to work through the courts, and that will be able to print everything professionally and actually prepare it for the judge prior to his arrival at court. He'll be able to look at it in a report, see all the offenses, and this and that and the other, and it's going to cut the data entry time in here down significantly.
Take a lot of workload off
Right,
people.
right.
Wow.
So we're learning about how that's going to work now, and Shane's instrumental in that, as well as Sharon, Jean-Ann, and so that's going to be a really good thing. A lot more efficient for us too. More to follow on that. Let's see. Water tank refurbishment. Actually, they did circle back around yesterday for just some touch up. So that project is now complete. We will wait until next Tuesday before we bring the water tank back completely into service, because they do paint and coat the inside of the tank, and we'll have to let that cure for about 5 to 7 days, and then the tank will be rechlorinated, and we'll fill it up just practically about a quarter of the way, and we'll over-chlorinate and disinfect the tank, and we'll take tests and this, that, and the other. And then once we're satisfied, we'll put the tank back into complete service. And we hope to do that by the end of next week or so. Right now, we are purchasing water from Bristol Bluff to augment the tank. And we are producing water every day, 260,000 gallons a day. We are monitoring as best we can our flow from Bristol Bluff, just keeping it enough to keep the pressure up in town. You know what I'm saying? Not buying more than we have to.
How long we been buying it?
Well, the tank's been down about 8 days.
Okay.
So, but again, pressures are great. And this is something that we're required to do every 5 years by TDEC. So that project looks like it's going to end up really good. And we should be able to bring, like I say, we've had no problems with water treatment plant, no problems with Bristol Bluff. And we should be able to bring a water tank back up to full capacity by the end of next week or so. And next, if the Lord wills it, obviously in about 3.5 years, we won't be like we are now. We'll start planning this project for the 4th year, and everything will go good. So, town hall repairs, renovation, and beautification. This is the kind of stuff now that we're up into March, we'll start talking about in budget talks for 23 and 24. So, more to follow on that. What I'll do is I'll bring to you a wish list, I guess, a practical wish list of, okay, we're going to have to put a new roof on, we're going to have to do this, we're going to have to, and we'll decide between us then, from a budgetary standpoint, how much we want to invest in the capital project. So, multimodal grant, I've already talked about that. That's just the timeline again. Equipment surplus project, I've talked about that before. We do have a Ford Explorer police vehicle, and we do have one public works vehicle. We are finishing up some title work on one of those vehicles, and then once that's complete, we'll make sure that we don't have anything else we might offer to the public. At this point, we don't. And when we're ready, we'll re-advertise those vehicles that we intend to sell and have another silent auction, I guess you want to call it that. And then hopefully we'll put some money back in the appropriate funds with those vehicles. Let's see. Food truck park, Mr. Fry and I are still working on it. I don't have anything to offer you at this point. What we're trying to do is go out and look and see how other municipalities are handling the permitting as far as what they're charging and why and what the length is and all that. So I should have something for you before long on food truck park. Parks and Rec Advisory Board, I'm still in discussion with the district on what and if those grants exist and what they look like. and I'll bring you more information on that as I receive it. Senior Center, no movement there. Cost savings projects, still, they're still where they were. And then we have our open employee positions. As you know, we're still advertising for a vacancy in Public Works. Alan's actually interviewing some candidates this week for that position. As you know, here, at least in my administration, department heads interview and do it fairly, and then once they come to a candidate, we sit down and discuss, and we move forward from there. So Alan's very capable, and he's looking at the packet of applications that we have. Same thing on the police side. We do have a vacancy in the police department, and the senior leadership team, Shane, Jamie, and Greg, are seeking candidates, and once they do arrive at a candidate, they'll come to me and we'll discuss. Let's see. Patriot Trail project update. There is going to be a National Park Service meeting that I'll be attending in mid-March that concerns the Patriot Trail, and once I have information from the National Park Service, I'll bring it back to you. I had a wonderful conference call the other day with TDEC, with the local folks in Johnson City, and two of the director level TDEC officials in Nashville. We are in very good shape with TDEC at this point, have wonderful, reestablished a really good relationship with them. There is some opportunity for grants with TDEC at this point. And there's also some opportunity for us to train and actually just work better through TDEC. So I will be attending very soon an ARPA grant workshop with TDEC here in a few days, and then as I gain information from it, I'll bring it back to you. Just FYI, Alan has he's out there cleaning house at the shop. He's painting, and when they have spare time, they're actually cleaning it. They pressure wash the shop, and they're going through the trucks, and they've been painting and rearranging some things, trying to tighten everything up out there, which leads me into 24. We potentially may have located a chipper and truck. Both items are used, but in really excellent shape, and they're within budget. And Alan and I's plan is to, if they work out and they're satisfactory, is to use the $40,000 that we've allocated for a truck. Actually, we'll buy both of those units. And the way it would look is the chipper truck, which is, you saw like these Asflund trucks. It's a truck that the chips blow into. Yeah. It's got a dump bed on it and a buddy cab. And then instead of the way we pick up brush now, which is we go out and just lug it up in a dump truck by hand, we would actually have two Public Works employees go out. You have to have two to run the chipper. You can't run it by yourself. That's OSHA regulation. Right. And they would actually just pull up in front of the residence and just take and chip up the brush. And it would go into the truck, and then we could do that potentially for days until we picked up, we had enough to dump. It would also make usable chips and mulch that we could do things with. Another thing, if you've been out to the shop in the last little while, over the last few years, we've went out and picked up brush and actually just kind of piled it there at the shop because we didn't have any way to dispose of it. So in the off times, we would take the chipper out there and just start working that pile down as well. And it's actually going to make the shop look better and be safer and stuff. So I'll bring you more up to speed on this as it comes to fruition. I did. The Sullivan County Highway Department, this is exciting, came a few days ago and met with me and ask, and myself and Congresswoman Harshbarger and the other mayors and Richard Venable to support a letter to the Department of Transportation to request grants to pave not our roads, but some county roads that touch us. This is a county project. And those roads would be Allison Road as you come up from Food City. It would be Piney Flats Road going back the other way to the intersection there, and some other roads that actually touch our space of responsibility. And I thought they had a wonderful plan, and I do support, and I'm sure you do too, that if they are able to obtain some grant money to pave those roads. Now, remember, and I've discussed this before with working on my seat with the Johnson City MPO, there is a project in the queue to go down to the crossroads at Piney Flats, where we come there on 11 to our ordinated limits, and it picks up at the city of Johnson City past that on 11, to actually build, go back in there and just completely overhaul the way traffic is managed there. And that would include new lighting, new turn lanes, and all that kind of stuff down there to make that a lot safer place.
You could use it.
And that project actually and y'all probably know here a while back, Butch Ely was in town, and he's the deputy governor, he's the TDOT director, and we all went down there and met with him. And that project is moving up the ladder in priority quick because it's a safety consideration. It's in the city of Bluff City, obviously. It's in the city of Johnson City, and it's in the county. So it's a huge project. And it looks like it's going to cost about $14 million, believe it or not, to do that. Do it right.
No.
Do it right. But Commissioner Ely told the group, including myself, that he was moving that project way up the list of TDOT projects. So I'll give you more on that as I know about it. And then finally, this is personal coordination. When I met with Commissioner Ely, I also met with Steve Harmon, and Steve Harmon is the Region 1 TDOT director. He's our TDOT guy north of Knoxville. And I said, Steve, there's something that concerns me, I said, in our town, and that is the signal at the intersection of State Route 390 and 19E. Because if y'all know, we all traveled that way, it is not a directional signal. It's either red, green, or yellow, or amber. It's not yellow. And I said, is there any way that you could have your traffic engineer come out and look at it and do a study for us, pro bono, and tell me if it would be feasible for TDOT to help, that's a state road, to come in and put lanes and directional signals on both approaches from State Route 390 and there at 19. Well, heck, 2 days later, I get a call from a traffic engineer, and he's like, hey, Mayor, I'm Andy, and I'm a traffic engineer I'm down here. Tell me what you're thinking. And I got response. So TDOT did the study, and they said it would be 4 to 6 weeks before they had me a formal proposal on, and I can bring to you, on if and how they're willing to go in there and put directional signals. And, because like right now, if you go out there and somebody else is coming up a hill there on State Route, you just kind of guess who's going where.
Right.
And so that one's in action.
Great.
And once I get that study back, I'll share it with you.
Great.
And then this would be a TDOT funded project, so to my knowledge, it would not no expense to the town because it's a state road. So that is all I have on the agenda. Now, what do y'all have for me?
Well, first, did you check on that tree?
I did. We're going to have to go, Alan and I, and talk to this gentleman because the majority of that tree is on his property. Now, the easement that comes down that ditch you could crop some of those limbs on the easement side, but the other side of it we can't touch unless we make some type of agreement with him.
Oh, okay.
And we can't come in and just whack the tree off, or so we need to. Al and I talked about that today.
So what would I need to tell them when they reach
That
out to me?
Alan and I are going to come and see him.
You gonna go visit
Yeah,
the people?
we'll go see
Okay,
him.
that's
Sure will.
great.
Alan's already been down there about
Okay.
4 or 5 times, and I went because when I don't know something,
Right.
I get counsel involved, and I'm like, okay, here's what it is, and he's like, well, it is the majority of that tree's on his property, so we need to go talk to guy. We're going to try to go this gentleman's way as much as we possibly can, but we're not going to do anything illegal either. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I had asked you about the charter. We can sit and discuss some things that I feel like we need to put in the charter.
Right.
And my biggest concern is, of course, racism. And whenever there is a hate crime, that it is to be reported to the district attorney, because it was not reported when I went through it, and I'm finding out even more stuff now.
Are you hearing this, Shane?
Yeah. Well, you remember, Jeff.
I do.
You know what
I do.
happened. And
So there needs to be
it needs to be
language
something,
in the code.
language where somebody will say, well, I don't know what to do,
Right.
and don't come and investigate.
So there has to
And that's
be
proven.
codes.
And,
reporting.
nobody, even on the board, nobody is above the law. Not even me.
No. We're actually under more scrutiny.
Well, it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
I tell you, I mean, I got an education.
Yeah.
Can I add something to that? I actually do the TIPERS, which is the Tennessee Incident-Based Reporting System that we have to follow the guidelines. They have actually added an exception a few years ago that is hate crime related.
Right. But see, excuse me a minute, but what happened to me is it was never reported. I had to go to the lieutenant governor and to report it myself. And then I spoke with the district attorney. He had no idea. And now there's more stuff coming.
Yeah, there's actually an exception on there now where once it's on any report that we do, that field has to be filled.
And Heather, you familiar with it?
Yeah.
So now that's something that's been added the past few years.
I just want, to make sure, because I don't want anybody to go through what I've gone through. And that's one reason why I'm on the board, is to be a voice for everybody. And, just because somebody might be on the board friends with this one or friends with that one, and nothing get done. So if anything come up, that it immediately come out of Bluff City's hands and go to the district attorney, especially a hate crime.
Okay. So what we'll do is I will circle back around with Paul and Greg and if necessary Barry, and we'll just make sure that's. I know because I've saw that on the reporting, even at MSC.
Oh, that case is still open.
You know what I'm saying? It's if the responding officer suspects there's a check. You know what I'm saying?
Honey, somebody had went in our church and wrote it. I mean, there's pictures and everything. Well, you know all about it.
Oh, I know, yeah.
You know all about it.
Speaking of that, not to change subject, we're starting to see vandalism again at the park.
Oh,
Not bad. They're just writing obscenities on the benches with spray paint.
Yeah,
and
I heard
there were
something
some
like that.
obscenities written on the road here a couple of days ago, and we're on it.
the road?
Yeah, on the street. Yeah, in white paint, some obscenities. But it is being investigated, so and thank good Lord, I mean, down at the park, it was just somebody took some silver spray paint on the white benches and wrote some obscenities. And we covered it up today. We fixed it, but we are watching the park closely. I'll just say that.
I hope you catch every one of them.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody got anything else? So,
You don't have an idea who's doing it?
yes.
You do?
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. We think it's the same group that vandalized before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there's I can't compromise the investigation, but
As long as y'all got it
Lieutenant Watson will tell you we're on it. We're on it, right? Yeah.
And I can truly say, I know you don't tolerate it.
No, we will not
I know
tolerate
you
it.
don't.
It'll be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Amen. Yes.
Yeah.
We like to hear.
So before we leave, so we're all good with the ordinance. I'll have it on your agenda for next Tuesday. We're all good with Wells Park. It'll be on the agenda for next Tuesday. Sharon, is there anything else we got to put on there that I forgot that comes to your head?
No,
We don't-
I don't think so.
You have.
No, I
no.
can't think of anything other than that.
Right. That's unless and if something does come up noteworthy of the agenda, I will apprise you. But at this point, and the Lord wills that if nothing else happens, that'll be our two major points of the agenda. I don't know of any visitors that are going to be here next time or anything like that. The legislators in full session, so none of them are coming or anything. That's all I know. Yeah, that's all I know. Well, anything else before we adjourn?
I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank you for keeping us updated.
Well, we try. We try very hard. All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much.